Great Mouse Detective is a 1986 American mystery film produced by Walt Disney Features Animation and released by Walt Disney Pictures. What's good is a boy doing the reason today we're going to review the 26th Disney animated feature film in the Disney canon, and was directed by Burry Mattinson, David McChira, and a team of John Musker and Ron Clements, who went on to later direct many successful films. The film was also known as The Adventures of the Great Mouse Detective for its 1992 theatrical re-release, and Basil the Great Mouse Detective in some countries. The main characters are all mice and rats living in Victorian London. Based on the children's book by series Basil of Baker Street by Eve Tuttis, it heavily draws on tradition of Sherlock Holmes, with a heroic mouse who consciously emulates the detective. And Titchus named the main character after actor Basil Rathbone, who was best recommended for playing Sherlock Holmes, and whose voice, sampled from the 1966 reading of the Red-Headed League, was the voice of Holmes in this film 19 years after his death. Sherlock Holmes also mentions Basil as one of his aliases in the Arthur Conan Doyle story of Adventure of Black Peter. And what is this film about? Well, Basil embarks on the greatest case of his career when London's master toy maker is kidnapped. He ends up pitting his wits against his old adversary, Professor Ratigan, who wants to become supreme ruler of all Mouse Kingdom. And the film was released into theatres on July 2nd, 1986 to positive and financial success, in sharp contrast to the box office underperformance of Disney's previous feature film, The Black Cauldron, 1985. As such, the new senior management of the company was convinced that their animation department was still a viable enterprise, and this set the stage of the Disney Renaissance. So this film kind of was like, okay, we'll give you one more chance. This film was like a one more chance. If you release one more movie and that's a success, then we can continue. And I'm happy that they did that, because Disney went on to release many successful films in the future. And Basil basically isn't that bad of a film, I have to admit. And this is where we come to my positives, is that I really do like the main characters, Basil and his sidekick. It's not Watson, it's Dawson. I really do like these two. I feel like they're a really good duo, to be honest with you. And I do like this animation style they're going for, you know. I don't know, it's very simple, but it has this niceness to it. Almost like a children's book look to it in a way. It does kind of remind me, the whole tone of it reminded me of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. If you remember that show, it was this show during like the mid-80s, I think it was. And it does have this whole flair, like the way they talk, the way they act, it does remind me a ton of that TV show. And it's even some of the voice actors I do recognize from the TV show as well. I do like the main character, Basil. He's this very eccentric guy who's just so addicted to mysteries and all that, and I freaking love him as well. He's just a cool dude. The villain is also pretty sneaky and sly and just nasty. Vincent Price always gives it his all in these performances, giving these sly, savage-like, nasty people that he portrays in his characters, and he's done really well. The little girl, or the little rat, Olivia, is just the cutest thing you've ever seen in any Disney film. She's just so adorable and cute. It's just so awesome, and the movie's just pretty short, but it's just pretty sweet at the same time, you know. I like the soundtrack. It's very calm and it's very chilled out. It's one of those movies you just put on a Sunday afternoon, or like it's one of those rainy day type of movies, you know, when it's just pouring down with rain and you just got to put that film on to watch, because it's just such a nice film, you know. It just helps you relax in a way. And in terms of my negative aspects of this film, it isn't that much of a classic. I mean, it's not a movie I'm going to come back to over and over again, to be honest with you. It's still a great film. I still prefer this film out of all the movies we had in the 80s, like The Black Cauldron, The Fox and the Hound, and even some of the 70s flicks. It is a better movie, it's a better looking film, and it was one of the first films to have CGI, because that clock tower scene towards the end was one of the best climax I have ever seen in any Disney film. It was so intense. And that film got kind of violent. It did get quite dark towards the end, I have to admit, which did surprise me, but in a good way. And Great Mouse Detective gets my respect, in my opinion. It definitely deserves my respect. And for that, I'm going to give The Great Mouse Detective a 7.5 out of 10. I'm going to give it a B. Go check this film out right now. If that's it, thank you for watching. As always, a Boarding Review signing out.